guys. Today we are talking about which home updates actually pay off in the East Valley and which ones don't. Most sellers actually overinvest in the wrong updates before listing, and here's where the needle actually gets moved in and around the East Valley. So, if we are actually talking about this, we are putting 14 years of experience selling houses into this conversation. So I'm Chelsea Anderson with the Anderson Signature Team at Keller Williams Realty Phoenix, and this is our East Valley Real Estate Talk. And if you watched one of our last videos about selling as is versus prepping your home first, you already know that putting a little bit of money into preparing your house is going to pay off by leaps and bounds. The follow-up question, though, that everybody always asks is, where do you spend the money and what updates actually are people looking for? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So 14 years of listing homes and selling homes across Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler, and in Phoenix. I'm going to tell you what actually moves buyers, what they're looking for, where you can skip, where you can save money, and where actual value gets added. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the highest return updates. The first one that is crucial is going to be fresh paint. Fresh interior paint is the single highest return prep item that we can recommend across the board, whether that's in Mesa, whether that's in Gilbert, whether it's in Chandler, Phoenix, whatever, regardless of price point, that's going to be where you see the biggest bang for the buck. The psychological impact for a buyer walking into a fresh house with fresh paint is key. And then you also want to go super, super neutral. So not quite white, not really beige. Warm current trends are good. We see a lot of agreeable gray. I personally love Drift of Mist is one that we paint a lot of our flips and a lot of our personal houses. That's the one that we recommend. And then you do a contrasting color in a white frame for your trim. So if your trim needs a fresh, we love Cool December. That's a really, really great one that pops and makes it look really fresh and clean and inviting. So the second piece there is going to be fresh curb appeal. So anybody walking up to the house, you want to make sure that it looks fantastic. So if that's a little bit of fresh landscaping, maybe a little bit of new gravel, maybe some flower beds or pots, maybe your front door just needs to get cleaned off and painted, things like that. Those are going to be the key things to focus on the outside. The third thing is going to be flooring touch-ups. You don't necessarily need to replace floors, but they need to be clean. So whether that's full-blown steam cleaning on the carpets, get your grout cleaned, all of that, make it smell fresh, make it look good. If there's stains, carpet is cheap. Replace that carpet if it's stained. It's going to be well worth the effort. The fourth one is going to be lighting and fixtures. So this one people overlook. A lot of our houses around town were built in the 90s or maybe even early 2000s. You have a lot of gold door handles, a lot of that old brass like faucets and chandeliers and things like that. For about $1,000, you can go through and do a whole home refresh into something much more modern. We still like black. Brush nickel is okay. Matte black, I think, is where we get a lot of buyer feedback that that's what they're looking for. That's the trend. So black light fixtures, black door handles, black cabinet pulls, that type of stuff. And if we're going for water, because we have such hard water, keep that in mind. You probably do want to do a stainless or something like that as far as those sinks go. So those are going to be the big things where you can get a lot of bang for your buck. So then the second thing that we're really going to focus on are what needs to be repaired before you go on the market. We are going to specifically talk about things that show up on home inspections and become leverage then for the buyer. You want to keep all the cards in your pocket as a seller here in the East Valley in Mesa, Chandler, Gilbert, Phoenix. This is what we're going to be focusing on. If anything in your house is not working right, I would recommend fixing that before you go on the market, before that inspection right now. Anything that's not working right, the buyers are just going to create a list. And with each item on that list, regardless if it's a big thing or a little thing, that price is going to go down. So things that we're talking about are going to be leaky faucets, running toilets, loose fixtures. What else do we see all the time? It's 100% worth it to get your HVAC tuned up before you go on the market. So you have proof, even if it's 10 years old, 14 years old, that that baby is working. That is huge for you as the seller and holding all of your cards. You can generally get your AC service for something under 200 bucks. Definitely worth it. We also see a ton of stuff on roof condition. If you have some roof problems that you already know about, go ahead and address those ahead of time. Sometimes it's just as simple as like a few $100s to get something looked at. Sometimes it's good to know that you need the full roof replacement and what that cost is, and then we can figure out if that's going to be a negotiating tactic within the offer or if it's something that you want to do ahead of time to entice more buyers to come to your house because it's a problem that they don't have to deal with. So, where we actually see a lot of people focus in on that doesn't actually do much for their value is going for the full blown kitchen remodel right before they sell it. You're not going to get that full return. And then you're going to be disappointed if somebody comes in and says, I wouldn't have chosen those cupboards, I wouldn't have chosen that, whatever. The other piece that we actually see is going to be in the bathrooms. It's going to kind of depend on what that looks like on whether or not you get the money back. And we can go over that when we see your house and walk through and give you some pointers and feedback. Do not add pools or elaborate landscaping or anything like that before you're going to go and sell your house. 100% you will not get that money back. 100%. If you're doing lots of, and you're trying to do like massive remodels, removing walls and taking things out, 100% do not do that. New windows, you're not going to get the whole value back. What else? Solar is not, it ends up being much more of a problem than you think it is when you put it on your house. So do not add that to try to attract more buyers. And then when we're actually going through this, we build a customized prep plan for every listing to make sure that we are hitting the market and going after the buyers that are going to be buying with the feedback that we've been hearing consistently over the last few years in our stale, stagnant market that we're in right now throughout the East Valley. We really want to walk through this house with the eyes of a buyer and make sure that you can glow and outperform all of that competition because, a home well prepped will sell faster than any house that, is slapped together and thrown on the market. It also depends on what price point and which neighborhood as to what that prep plan looks like. So for instance, a house that's in Dobson Ranch, let's say, for $400,000 or $500,000 is going to get prepped a heck of a lot different than something that's going to be in Los Angeles for about $1 million. So those two different demographics and prep plans of those buyers are going to impact how we prep a house to sell and succeed in a market that we're in today. So if you would like to list and want to see what that specific prep plan is going to look like for your house, not just generics that you can pull off of the everybody's house should also look like this, but actually in your price range, in your product type, as far as what your house looks like in your neighborhood with your custom updates and everything as it sits right now, we would love to help you set your house up to succeed in today's market. So reach out directly to me. My email is chelsea@andersonsignature.com and my phone number is 602-748-6136. Feel free to call or text or drop the word prep plan in the comments and we'll send you our generic pre-listing prep checklist that we can then tailor in for your home. So, of course, subscribe if you want any more strategy sessions or kind of get a feel for more of what's going on in the market. And we would love to help you prep your house to sell and succeed in today's market.